Hi, I'm Brian and welcome along. Thanks for joining in. And today I'm going to be looking at the debut album from Lenny Kravitz called Let Love Rule. And stay tuned. What was that about? And stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm going to do a top five Lenny Kravitz album ranking. Or maybe an Albert. I was about to hit pause and I thought, bugger it, I'm going to keep going. Anyway, a top five Lenny Kravitz ranking. Anyway, this is a 1988 Australian pressing, an Australasian pressing, which probably means they only did one at the time. That's how rare they are. Anyway, it's on Virgin. There's Lenny looking all soulful and cool on Virgin. And the vinyl looks like it's in great shape, but it's got the snap, crackle, and pop of these critters running all the way through it. So I'm going to have to saturate the damn thing with some record cleaning product and see if I can get it right up to speed because I never see this album in the wild and I've been looking for it for a long time. Anyway, I vividly recall where I first heard this, and it was on an early Saturday morning music show, not to be confused with Steve's early Sunday morning music show. Different beast altogether. Anyway, listening to it on a Saturday morning, and at the time I was all into the peace, love, and happiness beatnik, a peacenik, hippie-nick, trader nicks, God knows what I'm talking about. And I felt at the time that it was just something which was really celebrating that period of music that I love so much, the psychedelic, soulful sounds of the 60s and the 70s. And let's add a few more S's in. Anyway, and it was more impressive that he apparently played most of the instruments himself. Well, a lot of the instruments himself. And so it was like he was stepping up to the majors, stepping up to the plate, and he was about to take his first pitch from somebody in Major League Baseball, and he hit it set out of the park. Anyway, it was almost like he was trying to be a prince of the times. The only one problem with that was there was already one prince, and he's a little bit more stellar and survived over the years, I think. What I'm trying to say, he's better. This pressing has a kicker though, and it's one of the reasons why I've never gone after it really religiously, is when we look at the song titles, wherever they are, down there are three songs that are missing from the CD release. I mean, you can't probably have them all in there, but there are three songs, the last three songs, I believe, from the CD, and it includes one of my very favorite songs, Blues from Sister Someone. Anyway, I dug this album a lot when I was younger. Do I still dig it now? Is it still dug? Well, let's find out. The first song up to the plate is Sitting on Top of the World. And this is, almost like being invited into the recording studio with Lenny because he's strumming his guitar. There's the count in of the 4, 2, 3, 4, and the strumming of the guitar comes in. And then Lenny takes off with the vocals, Sitting on Top of the World. And I really love the way he says that line the last time when he goes, sitting on top of the world. It's almost like his voice cracks. It means something to him. It's important. And from there, it explodes in a sense that we get the clav in one ear, I think it's the right, and the bass in the left. And they sound, we've got all that space which is going on really well. And Lenny's voice is becoming impassioned and he's letting it all loose. And it sometimes cracks a touch, but then there's this magic moment of this song where the distorted guitar comes in. Do 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 do, jow, do 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 do, jow, and then great lines. You got to remember the times that we used to share, and I love the way he finishes that off. That we used to share. Yeah, really cool. Great finish of the section, and there's a sense of community that's being established on this album, of this song straight away. You got to turn around, spread a little love, and get high. I mean, everything's in place. The music's psychedelic, the music's soulful, the lyrics are cool, going back to the 60s, and love it. And then it slows down, and it sort of almost like it's the music slowing down and deconstructing a little bit until we get to the first single, which is Let Love Rule, the title track. Big song in my life. Absolutely loved it. I played it in bands a number of times, and trust me, it's not as easy to sing that thing as you think. Anyway, I dig the organ that underscores everything in the verses, and what a killer chorus. Let love rule. Anyway, that's that sweet light groove is then juxtaposed by the band and Lenny's impassioned singing, but there's a touch of screaming in here. La la real, you know what? He's almost losing control of his voice, and I always remember in a guitar instructional video that BB King used to say, "Well, you can't play on 10 all the time, even though Spinal Tap's going up to infinity." And then we go to the saxophone break, which is absolutely sweet, and it's by Carl Denson. It just works superbly. And the ending of this song with the doo 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 doo, that bit there, that kind of reminds me a little bit of the middle section of Echoes by Pink Floyd. You know, doo 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 doo. So good. It's really great. And then we move on to Freedom Train, which I think is probably the most underproduced song on this album. It has a feeling that we're listening to a jam in the music studio, and it's sort of kind of weird. Thinking, how's Lenny playing all these instruments by himself at once? And then I realized it's an artifice. Maybe that's what's trying to drag us in. But we've got Sitting on Top of the World, Let Love Rule, and then into the Freedom Train. And it's funkier, it's dirtier, it's grimier. And I love that essence of that funk while it's being played. It really takes us back into the 60s, as does the bass. Really cool accents and slides as it leads up to the vocals. And then at the end come in those horn lines, which is so good. Well. Yeah, we're right there. So that's a big 1, 2, 3 punch to this side of the album. And can we keep it going? Well, the next song is My Precious Love. And it begins sort of dipping into the Otis Redding, Prince, Stevie Wonder type of vocals. And it's absolutely wonderful. It's beautiful. But again, I'm sort of thinking that Lenny needs to take on board this advice, is that you don't need impassioned vocals to show or share passion. You don't need to be out there at 10 and 11. Or I'm going to go on about this because it's the one thing now that I've listened to this album over and over again in the year 2025, that it's sort of like, now I've heard it, I can't unhear it. And if we want to project a little bit further forward to the second album, he learnt it there. Things like More Than Anything in This World. I want you to be my baby, baby. Yeah, still. Anyway, it's cool, and the keyboards and the horn sections work to lift it. And I love that piano solo, Go Ahead, Henry, by Henry Hirsch, who was a fundamental player in getting this album off the ground, into the studio, and released, as far as I can believe from these stories that I'm hearing. Cool song. Last song on the first side is I Built This Garden for Us. And certainly there's religious iconography and overtones in this song. But right to begin on the second single from the album we're jumping straight into the chorus. I built this garden for us. And it has an urgency, but I'm getting a little bit of he's been accused of ripping off everybody under the sun, but if you're ripping off the Beatles, why not? Because I'm getting a little bit of oh, that's dreadful. Paul, what are you going to do? I think I need one of those or something like that. Oh, now I've just blown out the microphone. Oh, darling. Anyway, the lyrics at times here feel a little bit painful and depressive and not happy at all. And I think in many ways it's because of the stodgy guitar rhythm. I built this garden for us. And then also there's the solo, which I assume Lenny played, because it's a little bit underwhelming. And there's, that's okay. That's okay. The guy's not going to get a hit every time he goes up to the plate. But it does have a lot to recommend it. And there is a certain naivety to the lyrics, but it does help us to sing along. Lines like, we'll make love in the shade, and in the ocean we will bathe. Little fishies in the sea say hooray. I get it. It's peaceful. It's Summer of Love. Nice. And then we have a snippet from the Lord's Prayer, which is also included. And then my personal favorite of the lyrics, this couplet. We'll live each day in peace, in hope that we will one day reach the rest of the world when they are ready to be teached. Do I have to say anything? I don't know. I love the short a cappella gospel section. It's really great. And the strings which appear at the end although they might have been playing through the chorus as well, have that little feel of Eleanor Rigby. So why not? Why not take from the best? It's beautiful. There's some great moments on this side of music. So after that first at bat, I reckon I've got Lenny sort of standing comfortably on second. I'll give him a double for that first side. But now we've got to move into the second side. It's a bit of a lottery. Which pitcher are we going to be facing? Which is really weird because how can he be on second base and facing the next pitcher? I think you get what I'm talking about. Anyway, what's he going to do with side two, his second at bat here? Well, what he's going to do is come out with a song called Fear. Now, his then wife, Lisa Bonet, wrote the lyrics for this, and Lenny did everything else, supposedly. And it's a bit of an epic. And what we're doing is we're immersing ourselves, as we had to, into the world of Isaac Hayes, Curtis Mayfield, you know, the film soundtrack, Blaxploitation, Shaft, Superfly, that sort of thing. And I love the bass guitar here. What it does is it's slinky and it's got these beautiful sort of runs and feels in it, and it perfectly accompanies the clean wah that we get on the guitar. It has confidence, this song. This is the thing, you compare it with something like Freedom Train, and this song is sort of like fully formed. And the chorus really lifts the song with that great riff. Down, 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 diddly, down, 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 down. I could do you no harm. Yeah, but then we have the guitar solo. Lenny, was that you? Was that you, Lenny? Okay, that was a problem. Anyway, but thankfully it's gone down, and I didn't mean it. It's perfectly adequate, but you know, let's listen for more than adequacy. But it's a bit down in the mix, and there's a nice jazzy move to get back to the song. It's a great song, one of my absolute favorites on this album. It's Fear. That then takes us into Does Anybody Out There Even Care, which was the fifth single. That's how popular this song was. 5 at-bats. It's got a beautiful, quiet verse feel, and it's sort of channeling that moody, somber feel that he would get on the second album, where he sort of just reins it in and allows the expressive nature of his voice to take place of the screeching. Still, it does occasionally just dip into the histrionics, but the harmonized vocals on the bridge and the groove of the bridge is absolutely fantastic. It's a cool ballad. I'm all for it. Then we come up to the third single. Then we come up to the third single, which is Mr. Cab Driver. And it's always been a favorite of mine because it's of its groove, and it's unashamedly putting itself right back into the 60s. The mix is a little bit muddied for me. I don't know if that's the same on everybody's pressing. If you have a pressing, let me know, please. But the snare drum just doesn't quite kick through. There's some great lyrics in there, and you know, we'll never forget them. Mr. Cab Driver thinks we're all 165ers. Now, what's in the 165er? Well, if you didn't know, and I certainly didn't before doing this video, I went to the Urban Dictionary and found out that it's the what is it? It's about a 165er is a male prostitute who hangs on the street near 165 West 165 Street. Well, there we go, waiting for tricks. So, Mr. Cab Driver thinks we're all 165ers. Mr. Cab Driver, I'm a survivor. Yeah, dun, 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 dun. It's great. It's a cool song. Love it. And it's a much more of a sweet solo here. I kind of dig it. Lenny, well done, champ. That was great. Beautiful. I sound so patronizing. I don't mean to be. You know, the guy's trying to play every instrument under the sun. Give the man a break. That's what I say. You've loved this album for years. Now, why are you taking it on in criticizing it this way? I'm not. I love the album. It's all good. Rosemary's up next, and this is with the beautiful soft acoustic guitar to start, and the harp at the end of the first verse really works nicely. It has a spiritual sincerity about it. I'm not a very spiritual person, I don't think, but you know, I can really appreciate earnestness and authenticity. Then we get to the addition of the organ and the harmonica, and it gives me impression. Does anybody else feel this one as well, that I'm expecting Your Time Is Going to Come by Led Zeppelin to come on here? I think that's where he's sort of mining for his resources at this stage, and go ahead and do it. Lisa Bonet co-wrote these lyrics, and we're retreading familiar ground, obviously, all the way through the album, but it's got some sweet harmonies. It's not essential, I suppose, but it's still good. And then we come up to the last song in the album, which is called B-E. And I'm really getting a vibe of John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band sort of feel here with Isolation and Remember. But this video should not be all about tracking down the sources and the inspirations. It should be about celebrating the music. And I love this one. And the reason it's really, I'm getting that sense of Plastic Ono Band and Remember and Isolation is because of the sparsity of the arrangement. It's beautifully pulled back. Strange though for a down-tempo closer on the album. Why did they choose this instead of something a little bit better, a little bit more upbeat? I'm not sure. I dig the song a lot. It is Doug. That's a fact. It's Doug. But I would have loved a bigger finish to the album. And here's what I would do: some way, in one shape or form, shuffle everything up, squeeze it up.
Squeeze it up so far it goes up into a higher key. How about that?
But I'd get Blues for Sister Someone on the end of this song, because it is really, this is where the anguish and those impassioned, what's the word for it, the histrionic vocals really need to be. It really just works. Anyway, so what did they do? Why'd they leave that off? Well, they left the last 3 songs from the CD off, and it's like they made a decision, well, who would need those last 3 songs? Well, let's get rid of them. And we've got Flower Child on there, which is silly, but it's fun. Maybe we could have been a bit more selective. Maybe Lenny did want to be a bit more selective, and the record company said, no, this is the easy way for us to do it, so let's do it the easy way. Anyway, that's my sort of impression. I would definitely get Blues for Sister Someone in there. Still, it goes back with me to that early Saturday morning music show, and just, I played this song. I had it on cassette, played this album religiously for ages upon ages upon ages. And so let's get into this idea. Where does it come in my top 5 Lenny Kravitz album rankings? Where would it be? Let's find out. So our first one, I don't know if this is going to surprise anybody the way I'm going here, but number 5 is number 5. But I know a lot of people love One Day I'll Fly Away. I think I'm mixing up Randy Crawford's song, One Day I'll Fly Away, with Fly Away. Fly Away. I went out for a few drinks one night with a guy who, that was his favorite song, and he couldn't stop putting it on the jukebox. On the jukebox, a bit of Flying Away. Fly Away, what am I saying anyway? But still, it is my 5th favorite Lenny Kravitz album. Number 4 is Circus, which was number 4. And I sort of dismissed this album immediately, because I don't know, I didn't give it enough of a chance. But then one day I had a CD and I put it on in the car and went, you know what, this is not too bad at all. Number 3, Are You Gonna Go My Way? Are You Gonna Go My Way? One of his greatest songs of all time. I would love to play that in a band, but it's a lot tougher than I thought it was. And I'm well past playing in a band, but it's, what a great song. As is Come On and Love Me, and Is There Any Love in Your Heart? These are great, but something about the whole album just didn't work for me, I have to say. There's this worry about, he has this habit of starting albums with really great songs, and then there's sort of, it's like watching one of my YouTube audience retention charts, where it starts up here and then goes, ooh, and then only the true survivors, the true fans, the survivors, it'll be me and you in the apocalypse as we wade through my audience retention figures. Anyway, good album. Number 2, well, it's Let Love Rule. And I absolutely, I love the album, but I think there's a rawness and that naivety to Let Love Rule, which I really dig, but I think he just nailed it a little bit better on the second album, Mama Said. Fields of Joy is such a beautiful way to start, and then we go into Always on the Run with Slash on guitar. More than anything in this world, I just want you to be my woman. And what goes around comes around, all fantastic. So there's my top 5. What do we have? We had 5 as 5, Circus, Are You Gonna Go My Way, Let Love Rule, and finished off with Mama Said. It has been a pleasure getting back into this album, even though it has got that all through it. I'm going to wash it to death, basically. It's going to be wafer thin. It's been a pleasure getting back into this and reminding you that if music of any size, shape, sound, or psychedelic, soulful substance gives you pleasure, then I'm not going to argue with your opinion. And I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comments. That would be really good. But until next time, I hope you are doing really well, staying cool, and bye now.